Final lesson in Act 2. It's now time to put the icing on the cake, so to speak. In this lesson, I'm going to show you one of my favorite editing techniques, which will make your video look as though you have multiple cameras set up, zooming in and out as if you and I were standing in the bar having a conversation. This will also help with blending the transitions of me responding to your story, which you set up in lesson 7. Plus, we'll add in the background sound effects to create the illusion of being in a busy networking event. Now, once you've completed the Act 2 lessons, don't forget to upload your video to the community so we can all learn a little bit more about how you got into the work you're now doing. We'd love to know your story, so let's get to it. Hey, didn't we meet in an elevator last week?
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking you looked familiar.
That's so funny. I walked off wishing I had more time to connect with you. Now, I'm curious to know, how did you get into the line of work you're doing?
Well,
cool. So that might be a good time to make a camera change. So I'm going to make a clip, cut that.
back between 2009 and 2011, I taught more than 500 meditation workshops.
Cool. So let's say right here we can cut that, and this now becomes, if we come into our effect controls, we can zoom in and position as if you were a camera person. There we go, zooming in. So you watch.
Well, back between 2009 and 2011, I taught more than 500 meditation workshops and classes around the world, and ironically, I got burnt out from teaching too much meditation. At the time, I felt ready to move on and start doing other things with my life, and before I did that, I wanted to make sure that my meditation work could continue on, and so...
Alright, so there is the first point where I fall off the screen. So we'll want to clip just before that, cut that, and know that this next section is going to zoom in on Brad again. And where it comes in for me, then we can do the same thing, clip there, because that section we want to make or zoom in. And what we can do is we can actually just take this, copy, paste attributes, and zooms in. Nice and easy, keeping things very fast so we don't have to do tons of work twice. And then boom, I'm there again. And gone. So let's clip. Find where I come in again. Go. We're going to do the same to this clip. Paste the attributes. Okay. Same thing. Paste the attributes. Now you can see here, if we move frame by frame, I pop into the frame right there at the bottom right a little early. It's a little unnatural. So what we want to do is fix that. So I'm going to zoom in. You can see, okay, that's frame I'm in, that frame I'm out. So I'm going to cut here. I'm going to delete this and then just move this over. Just that edge, not the whole thing, because that edge is just revealing the media. Because remember, when I move this open, this clip still has media all the way on the side. This is just the window to what is revealing. So I'm just moving the edge of the window over to reveal that clip. And, oh, okay. So what happened there? Bring that over one more. There we go. Found the right spot. So I don't interfere in his clip, but then when you come back out, I'm there.
Could look like.
Wow, that's so
We started
cool.
looking at how humans consume
Good, zooming out.
media and
Good, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. Find the edge. Cut. And where do I come back in? Find that spot. Right where? Oh, let's see. There it is. Cut there. And then paste the attributes to this again. So we're going in, out, in, out. Now there's that point, remember, where there was that clip. Where did that happen? Right there.
More about your work.
Now it kind of works, like if you weren't paying attention,
Where can I learn more about your work?
but it kind of shows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right there, I'm going to cut, and then we're going to zoom in on me. So, scaling in. Oh, it's not scaling that much. Now be careful here, you can see the edge, like very much right here. There's the edge of the shot. As you move it up, you can see where it hits. Now because it's dark, and the back of the screen sometimes dark, it's hard to see, but you want to get it right on so you don't fall off. Same with the side. Cool, and we're seeing how his hand now is in the shot. So what I'm going to do is we don't need his hand there. And I want to bring this, so I'm going to move this over to this part, so therefore to where I start saying wow, it's a little bit more of a natural position for a scene or for a camera change.
wow.
And what we're going to do is, because, okay, so my hand's here, his hand's there, and it's throwing the shot off a little bit, especially because we come back. So what we want to do is go back into our layered section and make some changes. So we're going to scroll over. And I'm going to take my ending piece out there until that moment.
Wow.
And we're going to find that.
Wow, this is amazing. Wow.
And at that point, I'm going to also scroll over this piece. So that's where his hand moves. There we go. Naturally. Cool. So just a little bit of editing, a little bit of magic to work. So we come back over. Okay, so we just need to make this move over a little bit. So I'm just going to zoom in and move the shot over. One more frame. Okay.
Wow. This is so wow. This is wow. This is so amazing. Where can I learn more?
There, that looks really nice and natural. And I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit. Find that edge. There we go. Bring it up to the edge.
Wow, this is so amazing. Where can I learn more about your work? You can go to the course.
Nice. That looks fun.
Absolutely, yes.
Cool, and that's pretty much the end of the shot. Cheers. Great. Well, there you have it, folks. That's pretty much how we make Act 2 come to life. All the way from adding our layers in, taking away the green screen, working with the color, and yeah, and then starting to do some really fun camera changes that aren't actually happening to make the scene come alive and actually mask some of the hard edits that we tend to have to do. So hopefully that works out really well for you too, that you can apply all this in a really good way. And I've almost forgotten, so let's not get carried away, but we need to add our sound effects. A very important part to creating any environment to seem a little more realistic. And so we can do that actually right here. So going in and finding our sound effects. This is our crowd in a bar. And we're just going to bring that in. Why is there so many layers? Oh, that's all right. And we only need a little bit, so we're just going to clip that in. Cut the rest.
Hey, didn't we meet in an elevator?
And I don't think we need all of those, so we're going to unlink. Delete.
Elevator last week? Yeah, that's...
There we go. So now we only have one layer. That's all we really need for a background.
Well, back between 2009 and...
It's a little bit on the loud side. So let's go into our audio track mixer.
2011, I taught more than 500 meditation workshops and classes around the world.
Bring it down.
And, ironically, I got burnt out from teaching too much meditation. At the time, I felt ready to move on and start doing other things
So you want to be able to hear the voice loud enough.
in my life. And before I did that,
We can actually even lift that up a smidge.
I wanted to make sure that my meditation work could continue on. And so in 2012, I launched my first meditation course in a couple years.
Yeah, good. And if you're happy with that, as I am, then let's send it over to render. So select all. And you can either come up here to export and click media, but I often just do the Control M, and yours might be different again if you're on the Mac. Keep saying that. And here we are. Let's go through this process. And we're going to again render down. So if H.264 didn't work for you last time, see what else is here. Start playing with it. Also, I don't know all of them. I'm not sure what you might have. Over the years, I've accumulated some of these. And so it changes from time to time. You can always ask Google anything. There's tons of information there. That's pretty much where I've learned everything I know from here. And I like the H.264 the most. It's a really nice container, because that's what these are. These are all called codecs. The formats, these are codecs, and they all contain the image in a certain way. And so H.264 is a very nice, high quality, yet small file size compared to some of the other ones. And here in presets, with the H.264, there's usually a bunch of different presets. I mean, they all do, even if I went to QuickTime, and for example, come to QuickTime and see what there is. There's presets. It's another one that you can play with. And let's see what Windows Media has. Some options. So in HD, that might work if you don't have that too. Play around with it. They're all going to kind of do similar things. And coming back to H.264, here they have some Vimeo and YouTube options. All this really does is change a few settings, but nothing special. I just keep it on high bit rate, so it's a nice big quality. And I'll queue it up. Oh, output name, where are we sending it? So we come back into our folder, And we have our lesson project. And one thing I didn't say last time is I generally create a renders folder right in my main project that I'm working on. So this could be called Green Screen Magic for You and renders, so it's easy to find. And so I created a folder, moved my Act 1 render into it, and this is where I'll save my other ones. So it's easy to find later down the road, especially when you start getting 10 or 20 different lessons. So here I'm going to call this Act 2 Final, and I'm just going to add teaching to it so I don't confuse it with the other final that I've created in the past. And save it there. I'll queue it up. Media encoder will load. And then you can just start. There we go. So depending on your computer's speed and power, this might take quite a while. Some of my renders are sometimes up to an hour, depending on what's going on inside, how many shots, how many layers, all that sort of stuff. The effects really essentially affect the time as well. So what you can often do if you're doing renders, and a lot of them, is start just compiling them in here, and don't start this until you go to bed. Therefore, your computer can work all night and just work this out, because this is taking some of my computer's resources to do. So there you have it. Act 2 all complete and in the bag. We'll see you in Act 3.